So you could adopt the grunge look if you wanted.
Good morning, everyone. This is the Delaware County Commissioner meeting. It's Monday, February 3rd, 2025. Time is 9:02 a.m. Let's all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Welcome, everyone. Ed, can you call the roll, please?
Yes. Mr. Reagan.
Present.
Mr. Brand. Here. Henry.
Here.
Mr. Burke.
Here. All right, we're going to begin with the announcements. The employee of the month that Commissioner Brand has come up with this program. So,
Thank you, President Henry. So we have an employee of the month. I talked about this in our January 6th meeting. I have yielded my privileged parking space and created an employee of the month program. I sincerely appreciate the help of Mr. Kyle Johnson and Ms. Sarah Hodges, and James Carmichael, who is our county assessor, is here to present the first employee of the month.
Thank you. This is Candy Abbott. She's our employee of the month. We had the privilege of working with her closely, and I'm going to read what was submitted by our chief deputy. She won't read this, so you want to read it? No, okay. Having the privilege to work with closely with Candy for the past years, we can confidently say she has exceptional work ethic and positive attitude. Candy consistently demonstrates a level of professionalism and dedication that sets her apart from her peers. She not only is highly skilled as a level 2 certified DNA assessor appraiser, she also has 32 years of exemplary service with the county. What truly stands out about Candy is her ability to work seamlessly with others. She is a valuable team player who readily offers her support to colleagues. Her positive attitude helps to create a motivating and collaborative work environment. Whether it's assisting others with challenges, tasks, or leading by example during high-pressure situations, Candy remains a constant source of encouragement for those around her. Additionally, she handles customer interactions with empathy, patience, and professionalism. Candy has consistently received positive feedback from both the public and fellow employees. Also, Candy demonstrates exceptional communication skills and dedication to customer satisfaction. In conclusion, we wholeheartedly recommend Candy Abbott for Employee of the Month. So, Candy's life outside this domain here is exhausting. She has 3 children, all of her degrees are successful, and her social life, exhausting. Bowling league, euchre club, golf league, pickleball, bingo, concerts, sporting events, not to mention travel. With all that, I give you the County Employee of the Month, Candy Abbott. Certificate, and like Mr. Brand said, parking for a month.
Candy, with that personal life, how do you have time to be the employee of the month? Just make it all work. Well, thank you for everything you do for the county, and thank you for recommending and nominating.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you.
Well done.
All right, next we'll move to appointments. We have an appointment for the Yorktown Public Library. We received a letter from Yorktown requesting that Patricia Freeman be reappointed to that board.
I recommend we continue. She's done an outstanding job out there.
I'll second that.
We have a motion to appoint Ms. Freeman in a second. Roll call, please.
Mr. Reagan.
Yes.
Mr. Brand. Yes. Mr. Henry.
Yes. Okay, next we have the BZA board. We did an appointment last meeting, and we kind of missed a very important part of the rules rules on that procedure. Go ahead, Mr. Brand.
Sure. So in the January 21st meeting, we had two nominees, Mr. David Spall, who lives in Yorktown, and Mr. Audie Barber, who lives in the city of Muncie. And looking at the BZA rules, in order to be appointed by the county, you have to live in an unincorporated territory of the county. So if the county has 111,000 people and you take out all the incorporated territories, that leaves you with about 27,000 people that we're trying to draw a Democrat from. So we still don't have a Democrat nominee. So if anybody's watching or anybody that's here present knows someone who's willing to serve on the BZA, we need a Democrat who lives in an unincorporated territory of the county. You cannot live in the town of Albany, Gaston, Eaton, Daleville, Selma, so on and so forth. You have to live in the county. So right now that spot will remain open, and it needs to stay on the table, I believe.
Commissioners, for a matter of the record, since you formally appointed him, I think that you'll need to have a motion to rescind that appointment so that we can have a clean record on it.
I agree, and I made the motion to appoint Audie Barber, who was nominated. I'll make the motion to rescind that appointment.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Brand,
Yes.
Mr. Reagan,
Yes.
Mr. Henry.
Yes. Thank you. All right, the ECIR PD board,
So at our January 21st meeting, I believe, or no, actually it's January 6th meeting, Commissioner Henry self-appointed. You have somebody you would like to appoint?
Eileen,
Eileen Swykammer.
yes, she's willing to serve.
Great. Thank you for that, Kylene. I know she's here somewhere. And I would like to appoint Tracy Lutton. She's the Vice President of Economic Development for the Muncie and Delaware County Economic Development Alliance. And in talking with Bill Walters, who runs ECIRPD, I asked him what kind of skill set he was looking for. And after taking that into consideration, I had 3 candidates and vetted it down to Tracy. So I would make a motion to approve both Kylene Swykammer and Tracy Lutton.
Was there ever a formal motion to put this on the table, or is it just tabled because we didn't have an appointment?
I believe it's tabled because we didn't have an appointment.
Then it will have to come off the table.
Okay.
I couldn't remember if it was actually tabled, but if it's been tabled, then it
No,
has to
it's
come
not
off
on
the
the
table.
it's not on the table, it's just on the appointment list.
It's not on the
Yeah, I didn't know. Okay, so
So,
then, yeah.
so we have a motion for, Tracy and a motion for Kylene. Do I have a second?
Are there 2 appointments that are made?
Yes.
Okay. And there are 2 positions I meant. Okay.
According to Bill Walters, there are.
Oh, I wasn't
Isn't
aware of
that Michelle Batters is here? True? Yeah, Michelle's saying yes.
that. Second that, both of them.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Mr. Brand,
Yes.
Mr. Reagan,
Yes.
Mr. Henry.
Yes. All right, next is, the Metropolitan Planning Commission appointment. Teresa Hensley currently serves and needs reappointed to that, position. Or is requesting to be reappointed to that position for
She's done.
Kylene. Yeah.
Move we keep her.
So we make a motion to appoint Teresa. Do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Reagan,
Yes.
Mr. Brand,
Yes.
Mr. Henry.
Yes. All right, next we have, table business. We want to leave the handbook, revision still on the table. That's still an ongoing, in committee. You want to talk about the solar moratorium?
Sure. So, we need to make a motion to take it off the table to discuss it.
I would.
Yeah, make a motion to take solar moratorium off the table.
Second.
A motion to take the moratorium off the table in a second. Roll call, please.
Mr. Brand,
Yes.
Mr. Reagan,
Yes.
Mr. Henry.
Yes.
So I'll provide a quick update. I started, I think in the January 6th meeting and in the January 21st meeting, providing updates on the activity here. I've attended probably 30 plus meetings, with different community groups, people that are pro, people that are against, people that are neutral. I've also visited other counties, Huntington County and Whitley County, Johnson County and others. You know, it's clear that even the solar companies, National Grid Renewables and others are asking for amendments to the ordinance to be considered. There's new information coming out. So you'll hear an ordinance that's proposed here later on in the agenda, ordinance number 5 for 2025. Things like battery energy storage systems need considered in our ordinance as one example. I also would like to make the public aware, it's been posted, I think this was in the newspaper, there's a public meeting with the IURC on March 11th. If you'll allow me, I'll just read it real quick. Good. It's a legal notice of evidentiary hearing, Indiana Utility Regulatory Commission, cause number 46177, in the matter of petition by Rorton Solar LLC for certain determinations by the Commission with respect to its jurisdiction over petitioner's activities as a generator of electric power. Notice is hereby given that the Indiana Utility Regulatory Commission will conduct a public evidentiary hearing in the above captioned cause in room 224 of the PNC Center, 101 West Washington Street, Indianapolis, Indiana, commencing at 1 p.m. on March 11th, 2025. This hearing is open to the public. So I wanted to get that on the record as coming too. So also I was contacted by David Clifford. I believe he is the developer for Invenergy, asked to talk to me. I intend to return his call today. So that's all the updates that I have at this time on solar. I don't know if the other commissioners have any.
So I want to go ahead, just for the record, I'm not going to read the entire ordinance, but I want to read the important facts in this ordinance, so everyone is aware. Moratorium that was to expire on March 1st, 2025 shall continue in place until such time as the county has completed additional amendments to the zoning ordinance regarding solar energy for the acceptance, review, and filing of any application by any person, firm, or entity seeking to place or install a solar farm on any property in Delaware County. Nothing in this moratorium shall prohibit any person, firm, or entity to conduct discussions, negotiations, meetings, or provide information about solar, any proposed project, or information about said projects to any person, elected official, or organization. 3, said moratorium shall remain in effect until such time the zoning ordinance is amended and adopted by the Board of Commissioners, or until such time as the moratorium is repealed by the act of the Commissioners in the event that zoning ordinance regarding solar energy is not amended. That's what's stated in the ordinance.
Do we want to go ahead and,
I'm okay if you guys want to introduce it.
I'll introduce.
Okay, Sherry's gonna make a motion to introduce solar ordinance, 2025-05.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Mr. Brand,
Yes.
Mr. Reagan,
Yes.
Mr. Henry.
Yes, that's for introduction.
Thank you.
All right, moving on, we have the approval minutes of the Commissioner meeting, January 21st, 2025, and also the executive session minutes, January 31st, 2025.
So moved.
I'll second.
Commissioner Reagan,
Yes.
Mr. Brand,
Yes.
Henry.
Yes. Next, we have presentations to the Commissioners, Purdue Extension.
I included a vote here out there. Morning, Justin Curley, Purdue Extension Office. I just want to come up here this morning and invite the commissioners as well as the public, great day to invite the public, to our annual meeting, which will be on, I believe, the 20th. Your invitation's in here. I also have our impact report here, which details the work that we're doing, not just in Delaware County, but throughout the state of Indiana. I know that some of you are very familiar with Extension, but some of you are not so much, so wanted to give this to you all so that you have it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You might save the location and time.
Yeah.
Of your meeting. You go right ahead. You go right ahead. Just for the record.
Annual meeting will be on February 20th at the Academy for Model Aeronautics. We will have dinner at 6:30. If you intend to attend, we ask that you please RSVP to the office because it is a catered meeting. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is this open to the public?
It is indeed.
It's open to the public.
We just need the RSVP to the office. We do have a capped attendance due to funding.
Can we make donations as we go in, or
Pardon me?
can we make a donation to you?
There was no intention for donations, but if donations came in, I believe we have a way to process those. Yep.
Good idea.
All right.
Thanks.
Appreciate it.
Next, we have the Versiti Blood Drive, Mike Williams and Pam McCammon.
Okay, Pam McCammon, Human Resource Director. Mike came in my office the other day and was explaining this program to me, and it's really a good program, and I'm going to let him be more specific on that. But I will tell you guys something funny. I didn't know he was a twin. So all the years that I've worked in HR, I thought I was talking
The
to
same
one
person.
person, and he has a twin. And that was
For 32 years.
yeah. It just, yeah. But anyway, I'm going to turn this over to Mike, and it is Mike. So, yeah.
It's all right. We've been getting confused for 56 years and 9 months.
Yeah.
Usually the women get the 9 months part. Good morning, Captain Mike Williams, Training Officer, Delaware County EMS. We've had a great opportunity present itself to us. I really think that we should go forward on. Versiti is the parent company that runs the Indiana Blood Bank. Since COVID, the blood donation has hit rock bottom, as you can well imagine. Unfortunately, the need is still there. Back in 2017 was the last time that they came around. They had been doing blood drives with Albany EMS, and since then we've acquired Albany EMS, started covering the territory, so she reached out to us to see if she can get that started back up. There's no financial gain to the individuals that are donating blood. The only benefit is giving back to the community. Unfortunately, being in EMS, we start thinking about the emergencies that come up with blood loss, such as your major traffic accidents, industrial accidents, violence that takes place. But unfortunately, if anybody in this room has ever had surgery before, you're at a position where you might need to receive blood. According to the representative I talked to, by week 2 of this year, we were already in critical need in the state of Indiana for O blood. So this is going to be an opportunity for us to come in. All that's required of us, they want about an 8 to 12 week notice to set up so they can make sure they can get their end set up and make sure they have the personnel and the equipment all set for it. They want to take and do 4 hour block sessions where they can come in for 4 hours. They show up an hour prior to, they set everything up, they do the donations, and then they clean everything up and leave. They will take and put out flyers with a little QR code on it, so you can just take a picture of it. You can schedule to go in and do a blood donation. They also do walk-ins as well, because not everybody, they'll sign up for a slot and then they don't show up. So they do walk-ins as well. They have a fleet of 11 buses, I believe she told me, where they can just pull a bus up and run the donations through there. Or we can set up a spot like out at Medic 55, we have our training room out there where we can actually set up a full blood donation center and have people come in and donate the blood. The only thing that is at a cost to the county is we have to do a PR blitz to get the word out there. I'd be more than willing to act as a liaison from the county to the Versiti company. I've already talked to her. And this can be set up anywhere, County Highway Department, the county building here, the Justice Center, any of the EMS stations. This is just something that I am passionate about. I've got family members that actually work in the blood bank, and I can't tell you how many times I've had the conversation of the shortage on blood. So that is what I'm here asking for, is your blessing to go forward and talk to them about getting blood drives set up.
Well, I commend you. Actually, I used to give to the Indiana Blood Bank, but I hadn't seen them around for some time, so I've gone
It's
to
been
the
a
Red
while.
Cross. Delta just had one a couple weeks ago, so I can't do it for 8 weeks, but it's a great idea, but parking is the main thing.
I think it's a good idea, and I think we have room at 911. We can set them down at 911 or
Downtown.
EMS Station 1. We can put them out at Station 3. We can put them in Yorktown, put them in Albany. I think we have plenty of locations for it. As far as cost for PR, we already have Kyle Johnson who can access any social media page and put information on, so I don't think there's a big cost there.
She would like to do this quarterly too, by the way, I should
I
mention
think it's
that.
great. I think it's great. I'd entertain a motion for the approval.
So, second. So moved and second.
There you go.
Yeah, we-
All right, we have a motion and a second to,
Who made the motion?
She made the
Sherry.
motion, I made the second.
roll call, please.
Commissioner Brand,
Yes.
Commissioner Reagan,
Yes.
Commissioner Henry.
Yes. Thanks for working on that.
Oh,
Appreciate it.
did they
Thank
say
you.
what hours they usually?
We pick whatever hours we want to set it up.
Like
It's
after
totally up
hours?
to our choice. It's whenever we want to do it. And I will coordinate with Pam and I'll reach out to Versiti and get all that set up.
And,
Thank you.
and Kyle Johnson.
And Kyle, yes.
Thank you, Captain Williams.
All right. Next, we have, I don't know why my phone started calling emergency services.
She picked you up somehow.
She did. Probably because Mike was here.
That's right.
Fred, make sure that didn't call 911, would you please? Would you make sure that didn't call in, because I only had 1 second.
His phone.
My
picked
phone
up his-
tried to call 911 for some reason. Technology.
Yeah.
All right, next for contracts and agreements for approval, we have bid openings.
I believe these are for the, materials for the highway department
It is, correct.
Road paving project.
and road paving project, okay? I imagine that's makes sense. I've got, separate them out. I've got some with materials, some with road paving, and then I've got one that doesn't identify one way or the other, so I'll open that one first. See which pile it goes, where I go next.
Let's start with that part.
Yeah. Okay. This is for road paving, so. Calumet Civil Contractors out of Whitestown, Indiana. This is for a road paving project. Looks like their bid is well, it looks like we've got 3 different ones, correct?
There's 3 roads. They should have a total for each road, but then a grand total for overall.
Walnut Street between 28 and County Road 800 North. They've got a bid of $384,397.25. 384,397.25. Next one is County Road 650 South between County Road 540 East and County Road 419 East. That bid is for $226,625.50. 226,625.50. Third one is County Road 650 East between State Road 32 and Centennial Avenue. That project cost is $165,977.25. 165,977.25 for a grand total of $777,000 even. 777,000. Next is Midwest Paving out of Noblesville, Indiana. First one, Walnut Street between State Road 28 and County Road 800 North, $331,247.30. 331,247.30. Next is County Road 650 South between County Road 540 East and County Road 419 East. $224,087.50, 224,087.50. Third one is County Road 650 East between State Road 32 and Centennial Avenue. That quote is $152,134.89, 152,134.89, for a total package of $707,469.69, 707,469.69. Next, I have First Brooks Construction out of Fort Wayne, Indiana. All right, first one, Walnut Street between State Road 28 and County Road 800 North. The quote is $304,278.20, 304,278.20. Next is County Road 650 South between County Road 540 East and County Road 419 East. That quote is $183,407.50, 183,407.50. Third one is County Road 650 East between State Road 32 and Centennial Avenue. That one is, $131,956.30, 131,956.30. Grand total $619,642, 619,642.00. Next, I have E&B Paving out of Delaware, Indiana. Here we go. All right, Walnut Street between State Road 28 and County Road 800 North, $269,930.11. 269,930.11. County Road 650 South between County Road 540 East and County Road 419 East, $190,972.10, 190,972.10. Third one, County Road 650 East between State Road 32 and Centennial Avenue, $128,287.30, for a total of, that's 128,287.30. Grand total $589,189.51, 589,189.51. That's all I have for the road project.
I make a motion, or I would entertain a motion to take those under advisement and let, Angie and Tommy take a look at them.
So moved.
Second.
A motion to take under advisement, second, roll call please.
Commissioner Reagan,
Yes.
Commissioner Brand,
Yes.
Commissioner Henry.
Yes.
Next, I have the materials bids. First one is Milestone Contractors out of Richmond, Indiana.
I think it'd be appropriate, John, if you just read us the, company names that have given proposals. We'll have, Angie go back like we have in the past and do a spreadsheet and present that at the next meeting, and we can make it available to the public as well.
Milestone only is providing a bid as to asphalt mixes. Yep. Next one, I have First Brooks out of Fort Wayne, Indiana. says they're only doing asphalt mixes as well, and that's what it looks like, just asphalt mixes. Next I have IMI. IMI's quote is only for sand and gravel, although there's also asphalt too, sand, gravel, and asphalt. Next we have AgBest, TDM. Is traditionally used fuel, and it looks like it's only fuel, both gas and diesel.
That's the only one that did petroleum.
That's the only one for fuel, yes. We have paving. Says asphalt mixes, let's see. Asphalt mixes. Seems to be the only thing they have, asphalt mixes.
That's the last one.
That was the last one, yes.
I think for accountability, we should let the dealers only come up and look at those before John and Angie take them
After the meeting, you mean?
after the meeting.
Okay, so those are all the bids. So I would recommend that you take all those under advisement, let Angie
But
and
let
Tom
the
take a look at it.
dealers come up and look first before they go away.
I'm okay with that, and like I said, Angie, if you provide a spreadsheet with all the information on, we can provide that, at the next meeting.
Actually, I think IMI's here at least. I'd be okay if they come up and grab the package and look at it while we're continuing with the meeting. You can wait, okay.
All right, do we have a motion to take them under advisement?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second, roll call please.
Commissioner Reagan.
Yes.
Commissioner Brand.
Yes.
Commissioner Henry.
Yes. Thank you. Next, we have, 2025, generator contract, and Mr. Foster.
Good morning, Commissioner. Steve Foster, Building Superintendent. That's just the yearly contract for all three buildings, the 911, the Justice Center, and here for the ATS switches and the generators. So they haven't changed nothing in the 3 years that I've been here. I think you even noted that. So we just need to approve that so we can get that done. And then I will have you guys some information on the grinding pump and stuff out there at the Justice Center on a contract and some more repairs that need to be done to that out there. So other than that, that's all I've got.
$3,982, about the same as last year.
They've kept their prices flat, I believe, the last 3 years. However, next year we'll go out for bids, and, they may still be the best, and then I'd like to put an on-call contract in place, which would require a vote by the commissioners for any kind of an on-call contract. But I would make a motion to approve the service proposals presented by Mr. Foster.
Second.
This is with, W.W. Williams, and Sherry has already stated the price of, $3,982. We have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Brand.
Yes.
Commissioner Reagan.
Yes.
Commissioner Henry.
Yes. Next, we have, the new norm agreement. Mr. Jamie Bain, is he here?
I think I saw him.
Excuse me. Good morning, Commissioners. Jamie Bain, Administrator of the Health Department. You guys should have before you an agreement between the Health Department and the New Norm Faith Builders Ministry. This is applying some of the Health First Indiana money to assist with emergency sheltering of the homeless population.
Has legal reviewed this?
I have,
Comment?
consistent with the other agreements that Jamie has done with all the other partners. We made some changes early on, and he's incorporated all those, so this is consistent with all those.
Thank you. I'd like to thank Commissioner Henry for keeping this moving and jump-starting it again.
Yeah.
Jamie and I discussed various ways to try to help the homeless population, especially with cold weather. And we spent lengthy time on the phone talking back and forth and going over different ways that we could possibly help. And this is what we finally come up with. So thanks for working on this. Appreciate that. Happy to do so.
I think this is the only one that's 24/7.
I believe so. I think some of the others have done 24/7, but New Norm is consistent with it as needed.
Thank you.
Make a motion to approve the contract as presented.
Second.
I have a motion to approve this agreement and a second. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Reagan.
Yes.
Commissioner Brand.
Yes.
Commissioner Henry.
Yes. Thank you. Next we have consent for assignment. Angie?
Good morning, Commissioners. We currently have an agreement with Triad Engineering Services, or Triad Associates, I apologize. They have recently merged with VS Engineering, so they're asking that our current on-call contract, that we provide written consent for the assignment to VS Engineering. But they are, our engineers that I use all the time with Triad will continue working on our projects for the future.
So this states is for general engineering services. Can you be more specific so people understand what kind of engineering services we're purchasing?
Majority of the on-call are, one, if there's an emergency, two, a lot of drainage applications are reviewed by Triad Associates. Those are the two main reasons.
What would be an example of an emergency situation?
It's been so long, those how to use that, but it was related to drainage, testing my memory here.
It's okay.
I
One up there on
apologize.
332 on the west side of,
Well, we currently have, we're under contract with an engineering firm to design that rehab. We were already under contract.
but I
when that was
mean,
going
we
on.
got notice that it needed to be closed like,
From our, that's from our, United Consulting, who does our bridge inspections.
but they'd been there the year before.
They have, per federal law, they're required at a minimum to inspect bridges that span 20 feet or more every 2 years.
Right. But I was thinking they'd been there a year before, and then all of a sudden you found out that we had to close it right away.
It was on a 2-year cycle. Didn't have any other issues.
Oh, there was a hole that developed in the deck.
That's what I'm saying.
That was an emergency
That's
situation.
yeah.
So I called United for that one because
But
we
they had done the inspection of it.
Correct.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Did we quote this out to other engineering services?
No, we've been using them for several years. We've just been renewing. But no, usually you don't go based on pricing. It's based on their qualifications, their capacity, that type of thing.
No, I understand that, and I would say that a Lowe Mueller, and I'm not advocating for anybody specifically, but they all are qualified well to take care of these stormwater issues, and they do have in Exhibit A a fee schedule, so I do think that costs are relevant. Do you know how much we spend a year with BS, which is now going to be Triad Associates?
Last year we spent around 8,000. We've never gone to
You
the
budget
max.
about 15, don't you?
Yes, per year.
Okay.
But I could get you those figures.
Thank you. I don't have any more questions.
I move we accept.
So, second.
I have a motion to approve this agreement. A second. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Brand.
Yes.
Commissioner Reagan.
Yes.
Commissioner Henry.
Yes. Next, we have local roads and bridges matching grant agreement.
This is the standard boilerplate contract provided by NDOT for our most recent award back in the fall. And this agreement, allows up to a match of $524,214.13. this, agreement is for the 3 roads that, was listed off during the bid opening.
Thank you.
So I just need your approval.
I don't have any questions, just to make a comment. There's a House bill moving through legislation right now. I think it's House Bill 1461 that states if your county does not have a wheel tax, which we do, that you're not going to be eligible for the community crossings grants going forward. So I hope the counties that aren't participating don't, and that leaves more money for Delaware County. I'd make a motion to approve.
Second.
A motion to approve the local roads and bridges matching grant agreement. And a second, roll call please.
Commissioner Reagan,
Yes.
Commissioner Brand,
Yes.
Commissioner Henry.
Yes.
Thank you.
Next, we have, bridge number 112, right-of-way acquisition.
I have 2 parcels that, have accepted our original offers. First one is parcel 1, which is Michael A. and Ruth C. Hinkle. I need approval for their purchase, as well as parcel 2, which is Connor Family Farms. They are an LLC, so on top of approving the purchase, I also need, a signed waiver resolution, which I provided to you.
And this bridge is located,
600 South at Williams Creek in Salem Township, east of Honey Creek Road, between Honey Creek and 300 West.
Are either of those entities here?
Not that I know of.
Make a motion to approve, and then you would need to issue a waiver, correct?
Second.
And, I'll have a copy for you, for Shannon to sign.
For Shannon.
you're, making the motion to accept both agreements, both
That's correct.
offers? Okay. We have a motion to approve both and a second. Roll call please.
Commissioner Brand,
Yes.
Commissioner Reagan,
Yes.
Commissioner Henry.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thanks. As many people know, we've been having issues with the audio here in the meeting room. We have a quote for $3,859 that Mr. Slusher has been working on. I know he's had a couple different companies come in, and this company's gave us a quote. I think it's a fair quote. I would entertain a motion to move forward with this and approve this.
Yeah, I like this option. This will be a wired option, so we're gonna have wires everywhere like we do today, so hopefully we can, avoid a trip hazard. But the other option was several tens of thousands of dollars for wireless. And, with all the other issues we have with Wi-Fi, I didn't feel like we should support that. But this is important for what I said in the 21st meeting about using AI to listen to meetings and create notes. If you've ever watched one of these meetings online, it's very broken and you can't hear it. Well, a human can't hear it, neither can the AI tool. And we're not going to be able to implement those AI tools unless we get this corrected. So this is our first shot to get it attempt to get it corrected. I'd make a motion to accept and approve Endpoint Creative's proposal.
Second.
Roll call please.
Commissioner Reagan,
Yes.
Commissioner Brand,
Yes.
Commissioner Henry.
Yes. Next, we have an agreement with Nyhart. Mr. Carroll?
Now, this agreement is essentially, one of the requirements, we're required by the state to perform as part of the GAP, report that we do annually. So this is just a portion of that particular, GAP requirement reporting.
So they audit us for general accounting practices?
They do a portion of it. This is the portion concerning, I believe it's in that agreement in front of you there that outlines, we have to, do things like payroll and insurance, those kind of things.
Have we done this with them in the past?
Yes.
Where are they located?
They're located out of Chicago.
Chicago. Nobody locally can do this
Well,
work?
these are very specialized areas of public accounting related.
Public accounting. Okay.
Any other questions?
$1,800.
Have a motion for approval? What's your pleasure?
I'll accept this one. But maybe we can find somebody.
I'll second it, and I'll work with the auditor to see if we can find somebody locally for next year that can follow and audit gap for public accounting.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Brand,
Yes.
Commissioner Reagan,
Yes.
Commissioner Henry.
Yes. All right, next, we have ordinances. Ordinance for first reading, ordinance 2025-03, creating a new fund for grant-funded Delaware County Adult Drug Court. Hello.
Good morning, Jane Miranda, Community Corrections. This is similar to what I was here for a couple of weeks ago, except for these are existing grant funds that are already in an account that is audited by the Department of Corrections. This particular grant is Indiana Office of Court Services, so we are just wishing to separate the two entities to make reporting a little easier.
Does the auditor support this? You're okay with this? Okay.
Yeah, they provide all the information we need to set up the grant fund.
Okay. But it's currently in a fund, so you're okay separating it out for that purpose, all right?
Yeah.
Make a motion to approve ordinance 2025-03.
A second.
This will be, yeah, this
All
will
of
be
it.
introduction. Do you need it done now, or can we wait till next meeting?
No, we can wait. They're already in funds.
Okay. All right. So we have a motion to introduce ordinance 2025-03 in a second. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Reagan,
Yes.
Commissioner Brand,
Yes.
Commissioner Henry.
Yes. Next, we have an introduction of ordinance 2025-04, creating a new fund for grant-funded Delaware County Veterans Treatment Court.
This is the
Same thing.
Yes.
But I thought we already had
Motion to introduce.
second.
Motion to introduce and a second. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Brand,
Yes.
Commissioner Reagan,
Yes.
Commissioner Henry.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ordinance 2025-05 has already been introduced. We'll move on to department heads and elected officials. We have Tommy Humbert here. Tommy, can you tell us briefly about the project?
Yeah, sure. Tommy Humbert, Delaware County Highway Department. You guys can stop me anytime and ask me questions. So we've been working on a project on 775 South, an old road at the intersection. Actually, the first phase started at Kernwood Drive, which is a horseshoe right off of State Road 3. We removed probably 20 trees out of that area so the semi drivers could see to get back out onto 3. So that was our first phase. The second phase, we actually went in right at the intersection. Lon Wright he owns that property. We took all the trees out, took pine trees, the fence rows out. We cleaned everything out of there. I'm in the process with Comcast, AT&T to have boxes moved back. The whole plan here is to widen this corner. I've talked to several farmers and pretty much everything is happening pretty much right off of the turn. It's where they're coming off Old Road and turning onto 775 South. What they're doing is they're swinging out to miss all the stuff, which we are going to set back. But the traffic coming on to the east is having to get over. There's no berm there. So, any questions about any of that stuff there from anyone?
Are the utilities pretty easy to work with?
AT&T was good. I'm having a little problem getting a hold of Comcast, but I'm still trying to get a hold of Comcast. But AT&T is going to work with me on this. They told me what they needed me to do, so I've already in the starts of that.
They'll take your call between 5 a.m. and 10 p.m. Tuesday through Thursday.
Okay. Hey, I'll try that. So what I want to do is we're going to widen that out. I actually, on the north side, Lon gave us permission to get up into the driveway part a little bit. We're going to straighten that curve out. You can see on the map there, it's kind of a rough drawing, but it kind of shows how we're going to kind of angle it out and angle it in. The good thing about this road is everybody is complaining about it being too narrow, and that's what the problem is. It is narrow, okay? But I live on County Road 700 South, in between 35 and 3. I pass with my horse trailer, semis pass there, no problems. The problem, and it's the same. It's the same width. I mean, there's no difference. If anything, 775 in some areas is 3 to 5 inches wider. The problem is the curve, and I don't want to say it's speed because they're not speeding, but it is speed. It's an unsafe turn when they're swinging. So on the next part of this plan, so let me not get off subject here. So what I'm going to do on the south side is I'm going to work on the berm there. I'm going to put some at the intersection. I'm going to try to widen it a little bit more on the south side also. So that's going to be all open. Everybody can see everywhere and see everyone, all four quarters. There is a culvert. It'll be the first one to the east, or the farthest one to the east. I think I'm going to go ahead and pull this out and put a longer culvert in. I'm probably going to go 46 feet. When I put that in, I'm going to come with riprap at an angle back to create more of a berm right there. That's one area that I'm not really good with the berm. So it's going to be quite a bit on both sides. Anybody have any? And I think this is going to be okay. I think this will work. I think this is going to cause all the head-ons to end. There was only like 3 wrecks. All those wrecks were right there in that stretch from that culvert to the intersection, and it was semis that were actually heading back to the east.
Your layout shows stop signs eventually.
Yeah, so here's what I want to do, and I really hope you guys take this into consideration. This is going to help tremendously. Talk to a lot of farmers. The farmers coming from the south and getting on 775 to continue straight on 775, they have a stop sign, okay? They cannot see back to the south on Old Road. You cannot see until it's almost like Russian roulette to pull out there. If we put a 4-way stop in there, that's going to take care of that. Everybody's going to see everybody at the 4-way stop, and it's going to not allow any semis, like I'm not saying speeding, but to take reckless turns.
Yeah.
And I think it's gonna make the road a lot easier for it to be traveled. The person that causes trouble is the people coming off of Old Road and hitting it at a speed. I feel like if we can control that, I think we'll control a lot there.
I think what you said, a semi coming from Highway 3, which should be heading west on 775.
Correct.
They come up to that stop sign, and then a loaded semi at 80,000 pounds trying
Yeah.
to cross in a reasonable amount of time before somebody coming from the south. Is that like 45 miles an hour through there?
Yes, it is 45.
Yeah, they're going to pull out from
Yeah,
the semi.
and I actually have talked to a lot of farmers out in that area. That's actually as big a problem as anything right there. Their number one complaint was the trees. Of everybody I talked to, the biggest complaint was at Kernwood was the trees, because they could not see, looking back to the north, they could not see to get out on State Road 3. But I really believe if we put that in there, I think it's needed. It's going to make everybody be at the same speed turning, everybody at the same speed trying to get stopped. I think it's the smartest thing we can do right there.
Yeah, I appreciate the update. Only 2 comments. Please share this with the sheriff, because we're talking about adding stop signs. I'd like to hear that feedback. And then Keystone in Oakville, to get the feedback from them.
Yeah, I sent one to Tony and to Jeff.
Perfect.
So was the study done, is it going to be a 4-way stop?
Well, that's what I want, okay? And like I said, it's not really so much as because the speed limit is 45.
Really?
I mean, we can't ticket anyone, I can't say, hey, Tony, can you go out there and see if you guys can, they're not going 45 around the curve, but they're taking it at 20.
Yeah.
You can't do that,
That's a great idea.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tom.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Any other department heads or elected officials? Okay, we have payment of claims of $1,815,777.50.
So moved.
I'd like to make a couple comments. I think we went backwards a little bit on adding descriptions into our claims. And when these are posted online, it's difficult for somebody online to understand what these claims are for. So I'm asking again, Anybody entering a claim in VIP, you're required to put in a description. It doesn't have to be super detailed, 2 or 3 words that help people understand. What we have the privilege of is looking at the county council's budget book, and we can cross-reference the account numbers back to the book. Somebody watching, the public watching this can't tell what it is. So I've also talked to the auditor. He's agreed to put on VIP training, and I'll be working with Sarah and Ed to try to get some training set up and make sure that people understand what the requirement is. But, if we don't get these claims a little more detailed, I'm going to ask that they be separated out. Like, we have one large claim here for $1,815,777. It's made up of about 10 or 11 claims. I'm going to ask that they be separated out, and the departments that aren't putting detail in, I'm not going to approve them.
So there'll be 2 places, one for some detail and one for the invoice.
So when you look at this invoice number, great. Invoice line, they've put under invoice line description, they put the invoice number. That's all they've put. So we don't know what the invoice is for.
But that goes on the check stub.
There's technically, I think there's 2 places that
We
you
don't
can
see
put
the
invoice
check.
number.
We don't see the check.
No, but that's what, I'm going back to when I was down there. We only had space, but maybe you have more space now, but it was important to get the invoice.
Some are good. Some are good. Some are, the descriptions are good. Some are.
Like here's a real good one. It's a line. There's a line number, and it says who it's to, and it says Spanish interpreter. That's fantastic. We know what it's for, right? But here's one with an invoice number. So here's a claim for quite a bit of money, and the description says 4218765076.
That's because up in Chicago, the lady's putting the check stub in and the check in, and
That's the invoice number. So when somebody provides a service to the county, they submit an invoice to the county. Somebody on our end receives it and approves the invoice, and they sit and enter it in VIP, our system. When they're entering VIP, they're entering this invoice number. A Delaware County employee is entering this invoice number. And all I'm asking is put Spanish interpreter. You can put the invoice number too. That's what the auditor wants, and I think that's fantastic.
okay,
But all I'm asking for is a couple of words of description.
space, so be.
And then a couple other quick things, the snow that we had and the ice and things that we spent about $68,000 on sand and salt. So our county highway crews went out and did a lot of work. So there's a price to having safe roads. We had an innkeeper's tax on there of $73,140. Ed, that's coming into us to be distributed out to the different, incorporated towns.
Innkeeper's tax,
Yes.
that's actually, goes to the, tourism.
Travel and tourism. So that goes to the Horizon Convention, or goes to the CCA board.
Yeah, they know where it came from then.
Okay. Wheel tax, $181,717, so we collected $181,717 in wheel tax. And then there's some 2 tax sale things. One was a redemption for about $74,000, and one was a surplus for almost $233,000. What's the difference between those two? Sales tax redemption, sales tax surplus.
Redemption is when a individual has their property go on tax sale and someone else pays their taxes for them, so now they're redeeming, so they keep their property.
Right.
That's redemption.
So we collected that when they finally paid their taxes.
Actually, won the bid on in the tax sale.
Good. And then the sales tax surplus.
That's the excess funds that are paid up and beyond the taxes.
Gotcha.
So if the taxes were $1,000 and they bid $3,000, there's an excess of $2,000. So we reimburse, give them that back plus interest.
Thanks. That helps me, and I think it helps the public too. And then, is Steve Foster still here, or did he take off? Thank you, Carrie. Okay, I'll follow up with Steve. In the detail of the claims, there's a bill here from the Muncie Sanitary District. I believe it's for the Justice Center for $11,705.09. I don't believe we really use that much water. So the sanitary bill, there's not a meter on your sanitary sewer. It's based on the water bill. And the assumption is everything that goes through the water meter goes down the drain and processes at the Muncie Sanitary District Waste Pollution Control Facility. But I believe this was water used during the construction, and we can get credit for that. So it didn't necessarily go through the sewer to be treated. So
He was working with.
that's why I was
Century
gonna
District.
ask him what the update was.
Yeah.
Because we're approving to pay it today.
Yeah,
Now, we'll get a credit if we get it fixed.
40 something.
there was a different one, that was 40-some thousand.
Yeah. And this is another one.
Yeah.
So I'd second the motion to approve the claims after my comments.
We have a motion and a second to pay claims, roll call please.
Commissioner Reagan,
Yes.
Commissioner Brand, Commissioner Henry.
Yes. We have no ARP claims. We have payment of payroll for 1/29 of 2025, $1,084,187.77.
So moved.
Second.
A motion to pay the payroll in a second. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Brand,
Yes.
Commissioner Reagan,
Yes.
Commissioner Henry.
Yes. All right, next we'll go to public comments.
How about a recess?
Okay. What we're gonna do, we're gonna recess, for 10 minutes,
Some people need to get to work.
to give us a little bit of a break here. So, Sherry made a motion.
Second.
To recess. We'll, come back in at a quarter after. So we're gonna be in recess.
And we need to get that speaker out. especially if the bridge is south. Right way goes all the way down.
All right. Listen up, everyone. We'll get started here. Again with public comment. So first is Dan Barry. Everyone will have 3 minutes to speak. And please forgive me if I mispronounce your name.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Dan Barry. I live at 2901 East County Road 800 North in Eaton, and I'd like to talk in favor of the solar. I've been a farmer here in Delaware County for my whole life, and I believe that the utility solar that is coming in will be a big help for our property taxes here in the county. That is the main thing I think will really help the county. We are in a good proximity for transmission and substations around our area, so that's a definite plus. And solar is a steady supply of income for the county via the property taxes. So I think when the ordinance, the moratorium goes off, since we already have an ordinance, I think it's time to let the solar developers come in and start on their projects. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank you. Next is Drew Cleveland.
Good morning. I'm regional manager for Indiana Farm Bureau, and I've been asked by some members to come and speak on this moratorium. I live in Randolph County, so I'm very familiar with wind and solar. We've had it for quite some time. I cover Blackford, Delaware, Randolph, Wells, and Adams counties. And it looks like Blackford is in line to also get some projects. As far as our organization, I wanted to speak. We have a policy process where we get input from our members from all 92 counties, and then they get together on the state level and vote. And so we have a policy book. I'm not going to bore you with reading it, but basically we favor local control, but we also favor landowners' rights. And so I guess I would speak that it doesn't seem like a wise choice to have a moratorium. Have your ordinance set, have your setbacks developed on the local level, and then allow the landowners to make their own decisions. It's a good option for a farmer or landowner to diversify. They can put all their land in it, they can put part of it, they can make that decision on their own and what's best for their operation and for their family. I've done some research, and Indiana is a net importer of energy now. We used to be a net exporter. So we are definitely in line for needing more energy development in Indiana. And also, I guess lastly, I would just speak that living in Randolph County, I've seen it firsthand. EDP is the company over there, the developer and operator. They actually share income with neighboring landowners. So it's not just the landowner has the infrastructure, the neighboring landowners also get a portion of a payment because they have to deal with what they're living next to. And it's been good. Local government has benefited from that. And then lastly, I'm sure you are aware, but on the state level, there's legislation that would bypass the locals, that would bypass you. And I'm worried that, this moratorium is one reason for that. And so I'd hate to see the locals bypassed. So I think it would just be wise to stay away from moratoriums, make a decision, get your ordinance in line, and move forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Next is Christian Hartzell.
name is Christian Hartzell. I live in Albany on 549 West First Street. And I'm here with Renewables Ready, Delaware County. And I'm here to speak in favor of solar energy and using solar energy to preserve our county's rich agricultural heritage. Since 2001, 1,100 acres of unincorporated land have been developed for residential use. Solar is a viable way for farmers to supplement their farm income and promotes farmland recuperation. The agricultural economy fluctuates depending on weather, but green energy can diversify income sources. In fact, many local farmers already support using solar energy and farming the sun. These technologies are considered a modern form of farming that allow farmers to rest their land, preserve their topsoil, and harvest the sun with minimal impacts on the environment and abundant benefits to our community. Please don't delay the process that is already completed. Delaware County should be open for business, and we should let companies submit their proposals and their permits. I ask that you trust the process will play out. This is the right thing for Delaware County. So, I ask that you keep the ordinance as written and trust the process. Thank you for your time and your service.
Thank you. Doug Marshall?
Hello, my name is Doug Marshall, and I live on 17330 North County Road, 200 West. Just to put simply, I just want to thank you, the commissioners, for putting in the first reading of a moratorium, and we just ask that we just thank you for you wrestling with this topic, and just thank you for your work.
Thank you. Charles Lancaster?
Good morning. My name's Charles Lancaster. I live at 11501 North County Road 100 West, Muncie, 47303. I live on a farm in Hamilton Township, and I'm enrolled in the solar project. Alice, my spouse, and I bought this farm in 1969 at great financial risk to both of us. We moved into a house that was built in 1898, and I don't think it had had any improvements since that time, along with our 4 children. It was a difficult financial hardship for us at that time. The most luxurious item on this farm was a swimming pool. It was 3 foot by 6 foot. And I'm sure it improved my children's immune system. We rented our farm out until 1978, when we were able to scrape enough equipment together to farm it on our own. From this point, we were subjected to varying weather conditions, good crops and poor crops, decent grain prices and low grain prices, and lo and behold, government interference. In 1980, President Carter embargoed grain to the Soviet Union, and I got $1 a bushel out of my corn. Now, if you approve this project and don't regulate it to where it's not profitable to the farmer and the investor, I have an opportunity to stabilize and supplement my income. Further, it would be a big financial boost to Delaware County. It's my understanding that the county would receive a substantial amount of tax over 20 years, and you would have a $35,000 contribution fee for a charitable fund. I'm sure Delta High School would love to have some of that. Through the years, you've denied windmills. You can drive right out 35, and you're not very far, and you can see all the windmills you want to see. The prison was denied. You go right out 3 north of Newcastle, and you'll see the prison. There's an unsightly property, a brownfield, at the old Chevrolet and Delco plant.
on 8th Street and, Sampson. My understanding, solar has been denied there, and it would have to look a lot better than what the scrubby.
Your time is up, sir.
Okay,
Thank you.
sorry. Thanks.
Thank you. Next is Holly Hanover.
Good morning, Commissioners. I am Holly Hanover, 4700 West Woodway in Muncie, and today I'm speaking on behalf of the League of Women Voters of Muncie, Delaware County. The League of Women Voters of Muncie, Delaware County calls on you to allow the moratorium on utility solar in Delaware County to expire on schedule and the current solar ordinance to go into effect. Do not impose another moratorium. Delaware County needs to be open for business. The current moratorium seems to have been employed simply as a tool to stop renewable energy development. And the new ordinance introduced today does not specify an end date. By definition, a moratorium must have an end date, and so this ordinance is flawed from the outset. Public awareness of the demands for energy, for reducing fossil fuel-based energy, and for the financial benefits of utility-scale solar projects has increased dramatically. Farmers in counties around us have been able to diversify and stabilize their income, and the counties themselves have benefited from infrastructure improvements and an expanded tax base. We could all benefit from a more reliable power grid. It's time to take seriously the proposals from utility solar companies interested in locating in Delaware County. If you are considering amending the current solar ordinance, that can and should be done without imposing another moratorium. Battery storage need not be a part of the solar ordinance, though it could be developed as a separate ordinance. For the companies waiting to submit their proposals, battery storage is not a part of the projects that they want to build here. It's time to end the moratorium, to acknowledge that the democratic process works, and to put our ordinance into effect. Delaware County needs to be open for business. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Annette Rose.
Good morning. Annette Rose here. I live at 8420 South County Road 560 East in Selma, Indiana. I have a 9.6 kilowatt solar system, which I've had since 2014. This is reliable electrons. This is an offset of my electricity consumption. And as we all know, we should know, we buy from IMP and AEP, who now and has throughout the history relied heavily upon fossil fuels for the generation of electricity. And those fossil fuels do pose a risk to all of us, including our wildlife. They create a myriad of air pollutants, and of course those pollutants then are harmful to us who have breathing problems, and they're harmful to our waters, streams, and wildlife. In the ash pools that exist throughout our river systems in Indiana, many of which are at risk when we have flooding that occurs, and we have this historical burden on us that we should be working on now. But into the future, we need to do something to generate electricity from sources that do not produce these kinds of risks to our human health and to wildlife and our soils and water quality. I ask you to drop the moratorium and keep the solar ordinance. We've been at this long enough. We need to diversify our electricity production because we need to secure ourselves for reliable sources, and solar is reliable. We know what happens over a year. We know how that changes. We need to protect ourselves and enable our tax-paying landowners to benefit from their own decisions regarding whether to lease their lands to solar development, and I ask you to drop the moratorium.
Thank you, thank you. Next is Mike Johnson.
Please let me know when I have 30 seconds left, if you would. My name is Mike Johnson. I live at 200 West, north of 28. I want to thank the county commissioners in Delaware County for all the work that they've been doing on this moratorium. And I believe in common sense and a place for everything and everything in its place. This is not the place for this. It's just not. For those that are pro-solar, I understand. The lady that just spoke, she has a self-sufficient solar unit or apparatus at her house. Anybody that wants to put them on their roof, fine. Put them in their yards, fine. Industrial solar, no, not here. I just don't agree with it. There's plenty of businesses coming to Delaware County. There's plenty of businesses here. We could always use more. So businesses are not going to stop coming here if we don't put in industrial solar. To me, in my personal opinion, it's nothing but landscape litter. And that's exactly what it is. We got a lot of road paving projects, a lot of improvements. We want to keep those going. It makes the county look good. That's what's going to attract people. Industrial solar is not. People will not want to move around it. And Delta High School is right down from me. And I really see the attendance going down there if we put industrial solar in this county. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. Next is Vicky Gassaway.
Thank you. My name is Vicky Gassaway. I live at 1260 South County Road, 900 West in Delville. I too would like to say thank you to the commissioners for extending this moratorium. I also would like to say thank you to Mr. Brand for doing your research and visiting other counties. That's kind of what I want to start off by talking about. We're seeing this happen across the nation and in every single county in Indiana. Across our nation, some of these companies are coming in and promising the world to our landowners. As I've mentioned before, my family was approached almost 20 years ago by a solar company. My family's been in the agricultural realm here in Delaware County since the 1800s, and so I'm thankful that my family has denied them from coming onto our property. The reality is that many counties, though, are having to deal from the fallout from these projects. Counties that did not take the proper steps to create an ordinance to protect non-participating landowners, counties that did not ensure property value guarantees for non-property or for non-participating landowners, counties where the solar company has filed bankruptcy mid-installation, or where the contractors or subcontractors are placing liens onto the solar fields. Counties where landowners are having to deal with erosion and drainage problems, surrounding neighbors are having to be burdened with noise, electromagnetic fields, and glare. And if people want to say that that's not true, that solar companies do not produce those, I want to bring you to the abatement application that Meadow Forge owner Invenergy applied for here in Delaware County. In the abatement application, Meadow Forge had to answer a question. States, please describe in detail any environmental real or potential impacts, discharges, nuisance, contaminants that this project or the production process will generate. Invenergy states none. The project will include meadow grasses, which will aid in drainage of the nearby area. However, in an obtained land lease agreement with Lone Oak Solar Project, which is in neighboring Madison County, but also owner is Invenergy, and their contract with the landowner says, in no event shall the grantee or its related persons be liable to the owner for property damage or personal injuries to the owner or related persons attributable to risk of known and unknown dangers associated with the normal day-to-day operation of electrical generating facilities, such as noise, electromagnetic fields, and glare, or from any runoff or altered drainage patterns resulting from the grantee's grading of the property. Did you hear that? known and unknown dangers. However, in their abatement application to Delaware County, there's none. There's no dangers to us whatsoever. These solar companies know that these industrial solar plants are causing these serious issues. This past August, I was able to attend the Smart Choices Land and Energy and Food Conference held by the Agri Institute. Julie Kim?
That's 3 minutes, Miss.
Sorry, okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
What is your name?
Did you sign in, Kathy?
Yes.
You did, okay.
That's fine if you'd like
Okay,
3 more minutes.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President. I attended the Agri Institute conference. Julie Kemp, she's the State Office of Energy Development, answered questions about Solar Ready Community Certification Project. According to the Office of Energy Development, there are 0 counties that meet all of the categories required by the Indiana Code 8-1-42. And the kicker is that there's $0 that have been allocated to fund this project if your county is considered to be solar ready. So as some of our proponents for these industrial solar plants come in here and say we need to be, get energy ready, just keep that in mind. 0 out of the 92 counties in the state of Indiana have met that requirement from the state. The director of the Meso Grid spoke about the future of electrical production. Summing up his words, the future was not in solar or wind, but in small modular nuclear reactors. Some of the reasons were because solar and wind are unreliable. This was from the director of the grid producer here in Indiana, not the PJM grid. He also talked about in the Midwest, the electrical ramp is all occurring at the same time with the solar panels. The electricity has to be offloaded into the system as it's being produced. If the grid doesn't need the electricity, the energy must be stored until it can be offloaded. This is why the battery energy storage systems, or BESS, are needed with solar systems. He said that a BESS, so the battery energy storage system, can only store the electrons for up to 4 hours. That was at best, okay? There have been numerous toxic fires from these batteries catching fire reported across our nation. Fire departments, especially ours here in Delaware County, is not equipped to put out these fires. So I do ask you that when you revisit this ordinance, that we include some protection against the battery energy storage systems, that we also ensure that our solar systems, if they do get installed here in Delaware County, that they're being tested by an independent third party, and that we also are making for sure that these companies are aging out aging out components that are broken. The financial impact from decreased property values, less agricultural production, and tax abatements will also have a negative impact on our county. And what happens when the federal subsidies run out? What happens when these private companies sell to a public regulated utility company? There will be no protection for us private landowners, especially those of us that are in direct line to substations. I'm asking you to extend the solar moratorium, which you already have done, and I thank you for that, and create a stronger ordinance to protect all of our non-participants. Create a separate ordinance against battery energy storage systems, carbon sequestrations, and data centers. All 3 of you, I do hope that you have been actively involved in Senate Bill 425 and House Bill 1628. Also, citing what Mr. Cleveland was saying, we need to keep home rule here in Indiana. We need to be the ones that are creating our ordinances for our local community. So I just ask that all of us be good stewards of the land. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next is Tim Carter.
Morning, my name is Tim Carter. I live on North County Road 25 West. I will be significantly impacted by the Royalton Solar Farm. Myself and a neighbor met with the representative of the National Grid Renewables, the solar project at my home. Both of us were very disappointed in the lack of detail and information that was provided to us. We felt like they were mostly interested in trying to convince us how this was great for the community, but wanted us to take a couple $1,000s to compensate us for our troubles. They gave us no information or assurances about how my family would be protected from any negative impacts or aspects of this project. He simply dismissed my concerns and said he didn't know anything about my concerns when I asked. Since I am somewhat informed, I felt like I was not being, or it was not being represented very accurately. As such, I feel that it is imperative that our community gets all the details about this project and make sure that our community and its residents are protected. Until a comprehensive ordinance is created, I appreciate the extension of the solar moratorium. I think that we all feel that complete transparency is best for all parties. The impacts of this project should be clear, understood before any decisions are made. If you, as the county commissioners, feel that some families have to suffer for the benefits of the community, those that will suffer should be fully aware of what will happen and what they will or will not be compensated for. Those of us that live next to the proposed project are deeply concerned and are relying on you as our elected leaders to make sure that your constituents are well represented. While you can imagine, I am not overly supportive of this solar farm. I am just asking that you please make sure that there is transparency, representation, and accountability during this process. Right now that we are all feeling that this solar farm companies are just planning on overpowering us and taking advantage of us and our government system. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Next is Janet from Daleville.
Good morning, members of the board and honorable county commissioners. My name is Janet Gernon, and I'm a rural resident of Delaware County. I want to thank you for extending the moratorium on solar. I believe it's important for our county to not be rushed so that we can ensure that we covered every topic and done the proper research. If we do not go under a moratorium, we would be vulnerable to solar applications that would take advantage of our county under a weak and insufficient ordinance. This is exactly what happened in Madison County, and they've been in constant litigation for 6 years. Also, I would ask that all of you in this room call and email the House committee members on HB 1628. Again, that's HB 1628. This is a bill that attempts to take away local control of wind and solar projects. All of our hard work to draft and adopt proper ordinance will be for naught if the state forces these projects on counties. Thank you so much for your time and for listening to the concerns of many constituents in this county.
Thank you. Thank you. Next is Bilbrey Muncie. Bilbrey from Muncie. Next is Robert
out there.
Robert Coaster.
My name is Bob Kester. I live at 2709 West Burnell Drive in Muncie, Indiana. I would point out 4 things. It seems that given the fact that this has been under so many years in development, the existing ordinance that was tabled or put into a moratorium, a lot of time and some 30 or more meetings went into that. That was a best exercise of our democratic process and the inclusion of input from people from around the country, the county. The introduction of a new moratorium is a second wave of action, which seems inappropriate because of the way it's been set up. I would recommend that the ordinance that was under the current moratorium be allowed to go into effect, and that these additional ideas and concerns that people bring up today and have been put forward be addressed in a subsequent working group that advises the county commissioners. I think it's important to introduce new ideas in a systematic way. So let the existing moratorium expire, move forward with the ordinance as it had been developed after several years of work, bring together an appropriate new task force to address some of the finer grain points that have been raised today, and don't let perfection get in the way of progress. Achieving a good performing operating system in the Delaware County is doable, and some of the issues that were mentioned in previous conversation from speakers are easily dealt with. But if we stay in the zone of good, bad, right, wrong, we won't be making any progress. And we're going to miss our opportunity as a county to increase our tax base, harvest free energy, and enable farmers to self-identify and control the use of their land. I would not support the statewide bill that was mentioned, but I would support enabling folks in the Delaware County area, particularly the farmers, to do what they think is best for their own families and their own income. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next is Brittany Mock.
Hello, Brittany Mock, 16670 North County Road, 600 West Gaston, Indiana. First of all, I want to say thank you for taking the time and doing some research and looking into the moratorium and deciding to put that on hold until we can get it, the ordinance where we need to be. I want to remind you guys we're involved with the Meadow Forge project. Our house will be encircled on all three sides, and that it really put stress on me, I guess, because I know that's going to change our way of life, and we have put all of our life savings into our property to stay there because obviously we farm and we raise show pigs and things, so it's not going to be just a house that we would have to replace and move because that's not an option for us. I do want to remind you guys that, I spoke with Invenergy when they were here. I had them come out to our house and met with them. They tried to, paint a pretty picture of how they are going to have trees and grasses and bees and things like that. But then when I asked them questions about things, how they were going to help be a good neighbor as they want to claim that they are, they had nothing to offer. And since then, I've yet to see from anyone, talk to anyone. I think you guys asked them to be present and transparent in the county, and I haven't seen any of that as far as any more meetings. The meeting that we did go to, they were trying to disclose things and didn't want to share or really talk to anyone about anything. So I think we need to keep that in mind if we're going to open them up to our county, that we need to make sure that they are indeed wanting to be good neighbors. They're just not here to take us over and, move in and then move out and then not be seen or heard after that. So I want to thank you guys again for doing the moratorium and extending that, and just keep in mind that, we need to make sure that we are making our ordinance so it protects everyone, not just the people that are benefiting from putting in the solar. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next is Jonathan Myers, I believe.
Monroe. Yeah, my name's Dr. Jonathan Monroe, and thank you again, Commissioners, for the opportunity to speak as a physician who cares for your constituents. Now, at our last meeting, I discussed air pollution and the 100,000 excess deaths it causes in this country annually. Air pollution kills more of your constituents than gun deaths and motor vehicle accidents combined. Half of these premature deaths result from the burning of fuels, with electricity generation being a major source of this pollution. These are known hazards. Okay, real known hazards, documented, people are dying from them. But how can air pollution cause so many premature deaths, you might ask? Let's focus on just one of these pollutants from combustion, fine particulate matter, particles smaller than 2.5 microns. That means they're small enough to get past your lung defenses into your bloodstream. Once there, they can constrict blood vessels. They cause inflammation. They promote clotting. That's why even short-term exposure to fine particulate matter increases your risk of stroke and heart attack. Long-term, these particles promote atherosclerosis, which is a fancy name for saying blockages. Blockages of coronary vessels that require stenting or coronary artery bypass grafts. Now, I haven't even mentioned today lung disease or other pollutants. I've just focused on one pollutant, okay? But why should these health effects be surprising? If we poisoned a river with coal ash, it would seem intuitive that fish would be poisoned. They're swimming in the river after all. Just like we are breathing the air after all, and it gets into our bloodstream. None of us have a choice over the air we breathe, but Commissioners, you actually can improve air quality for your constituents by letting work on clean energy projects begin. Just like elected leaders before you chose to set speed limits on our roads, or to mandate seatbelts, or to remove lead from paint and gasoline. Some of these were controversial decisions at the time, but controversy died away as lives were saved. But I'm wondering, given all the benefits we hear about and all the dangers from generating electricity from fossil fuels, which are as serious as a heart attack, I'm wondering, why do these clean energy projects get a higher level of scrutiny than any other project? We're to believe that if a small nuclear reactor was to be put in someone's backyard, they wouldn't care. I mean, why is solar attracting a higher level of scrutiny than seemingly any other project? It doesn't make sense to me. I'm yet to hear one community-based argument beyond individual preference. And I think that the community deserves some explanation because, their health, amongst other things, is on the line here, with efforts to basically block utility solar and make it non-viable. I think the community deserves a transparent explanation as to how their interests as a community are served by that effort. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next is Autumn Grismore.
Good morning, Commissioners. I'm Autumn Grismore. I live at 2130 West Pineview Drive. I live in Creekwood, near the proposed Royerton project. It will actually run kind of around our neighborhood. I just want to say thank you for extending the moratorium. I do believe this is an opportunity to be sure that the ordinance that we have in place does protect the health, safety, and welfare of our community as a whole. I'm not saying that the ordinance that's on file isn't I don't want to say good, isn't something that should be on file, but I believe there is enough new information since that was adopted that we do need to take another look at it. There's new information coming out about industrial solar all the time, and it's imperative as a community that this stays fluid, that we're continuing to see the effects of industrial solar on our community. And I just want to say thank you, and we are looking forward to helping in any way that we can, and just thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Next is Joe Russell.
I'm Joe Russell. I live at 3501 East, 700 North Eaton. I think Yogi Berra said it's deja vu all over again. For 4 years we've been talking about this. And the proponents don't really say anything to convince the opponents. The opponents don't convince the proponents. We're just kind of stuck in like the movie Groundhog Day. Every one of these meetings is kind of the same. Looking back in this century, we've had several projects. The peaking power plant near DeSoto, the Ag Park ethanol, CAFOs, wind and solar. All of those projects had the ability to pack the room with people saying no, 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 and a few saying yes, yes, yes. But we have none of those in our county. All 5 of those projects have been built in surrounding counties, and none of the doomsday stuff has come to being. So we tend to be kind of labeled as a NIMBY capital of certainly East Central Indiana, if not Indiana. When solar companies started looking at maps, Muncie, who known for its manufacturing base in the past, when that left, the infrastructure is still here, substations and transmission line. Very attractive to solar, that's why they're here. MARTA got busy because the Plan Commission didn't address it, put together an ordinance, which I think was some of her finest work. And it passed Plan Commission, the Board of Commissioners, without opposition until maps start appearing that says it's going to be here, something's going to be there. And that's when the opposition seems to come alive. So I guess going forward, I'd like to thank you to have the faith in the Plan Commission to stick by their current rules. They've been modified. We've had moratoriums. But at some point, we need to move forward. We're at a fork in the road. One leads to prosperity and it's good long-term for the farms. The other leads to, I sent all the commissioners a paper on the new NIMBYism and what it's doing to not only Delaware County, but counties all over the state, the nation. So we're at that crossroad. And if we're going to progress, we need to go down that road, or if we're going to continue in a death spiral, we need to just keep moratoriums and piling on language where I foresee a time coming that you're going to be sued either by the solar companies that have millions of dollars invested already trying to recover some of that, or you're going to be sued by the opposition that don't want it as neighbors. And
that's your time, Mr. Russell.
Okay,
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Next is Alan Knapp. Alan from Pineview Drive in Muncie. Cheryl Swingley.
Hi, Cheryl Swingley from Muncie. Commissioners, did you know that Indiana is energy insecure? We use 3 times as much energy as we produce, according to the U.S. Energy Information Administration, and Delaware County is energy insecure because we have prevented energy projects since before COVID. Your suggestions for another moratorium goes against common sense. For example, a separate ordinance can be written for battery storage projects. That doesn't need to hold up the current one. The solar ordinance can even be amended while it's in effect. No law is sacred. And as we prevent energy projects in our county, we're missing out on their benefits that surrounding county governments and the residents are receiving. Let me share how such projects have helped improve the lives of residents in Randolph County. And for some reason, you refuse to go over there and talk to those people. They've been doing energy for 10 years. They have a history. They can tell you the pros and cons. And the benefits. First, a Randolph County leader says the county estimates that 24% of its tax base will be supported by renewables with the completion of its last solar project in 2027, which means lower property taxes for homeowners. In an email I recently received, Representative Jeff Thompson, the Republican who's the chairman of Indiana's House Ways and Means Committee, said when he heard of our county's resistance to energy projects, don't they understand what this means for your AV, your assessed value? We are on the state's watch list. Second, by 2027, Randolph County landowners with energy projects on their farmland can expect more than $400,000 of monthly revenue to be distributed among them. I'm sure some of this money will be spent locally, and we all know how money spent locally contributes to the economic health of communities. The one energy company that has worked in Randolph County has been generous in setting up a community foundation and paying for a number of special activities. And there has been many more repair and replacement projects supported in Randolph County by energy dollars that I don't have time to list. If we should work with companies who want to build in Delaware County, what hidden financial benefits might these companies offer our county? Finally, I want to remind you of the 2022 Together Delaware Muncie report, which has one of your names on it. It says, this is for our future, support and or incentivize green energy production as a viable method to allow for farmland recuperation and long-term preservation. Please let the current ordinance go into effect. Let the solar companies build. Let Delaware County be open for business. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next is, I believe it's Ryan Richards.
Ryan Richards, 191 West, 1200 North, Gaston. Not much of a public speaker, but I hear a lot. I hear a lot about how the way for we're a 10-generational farm. My son's a 10. I hear a lot about how it's going to help preserve the family farm.
I really, I really don't see that, because all I see is people getting money, big money for it. Got a couple guys around us that they're going to end up using that money, raise cash rents on us. You can already see what it's done to land value. It's all because of solar. I know that. That's why we're getting 3-4 times now what they're getting for an acre of land. And it's all from solar. Because they think I can buy this ground here. We've had guys around us here, Grant County, buy ground. I know the guys that bought ground in Grant County, they're signed up for solar. They're just using that money to go ahead and go over there. So therefore it's driving up ground for younger generation like my son to be able to buy ground, because right now I can't even afford to buy ground what it is now and be able to cash flow that. So all it comes down to is greed. Farmers have adapted over the years. Whether it's had hard times, they don't need this money. It all comes down to greed. They want this so they can get more. You think farms are gonna go out of business? They're gonna go out of business because they can't afford to buy ground anymore. They can't afford. They got people that's in solar driving cash rents up. My younger son, once again, he won't be able to. It's going to be harder for him to get ground. Then you're going to take thousands and thousands and thousands of acres that we could have a chance to get in to be able to farm, and you're taking all that away for green energy. Bet half of these, more than likely, they haven't read how everything is processed, how everything is built, what things are mined. It causes more pollution than what that one panel, one solar thing is going to end up providing. They're going more pollution making it than that thing's going to do to produce energy. They're inefficient. One cloudy day, you're not going to get that much sun out of them. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Next is Allen, 3401 West County Road 750 North.
It's Goble.
Okay, Goble. Thank you.
Yes, it is Alan Goble, 3401 West County Road, 750 North. And as a county resident since 1983, I want to thank you guys for extending the moratorium on industrial solar. I know this is an emotional issue for a lot of folks. Hopefully this gives time for you guys to be able to make what decisions you feel best for Delaware County and its citizens. Thank you again.
Thank you. Jason Donati.
Good morning, Commissioners. Jason Zanetti, 228 North Vine, Muncie, Indiana. First, just a suggestion. I applaud your efforts to improve transparency, but it's extremely challenging to access documents on your website. Ordinances, resolutions, stuff that's been passed or it's even on the agenda. I would just recommend that in an effort to improve transparency that we work on that. Coming to an agenda today without knowing what the ordinance reads is challenging. I would suggest maybe looking at City of Muncie's Municode. Their clerk's office does an incredible job of publishing the agenda and every resolution and ordinance that is to be considered in that meeting well ahead of time, as if the council members got it in advance. So just a suggestion there. Just some comments related to the moratorium. I believe this is the 4th potential moratorium. I attend a lot of public meetings, elected official meetings. Usually when a motion is approved and there's a second, there's time for discussion so public can comment before commissioners and elected officials take a vote. That's standard Robert Rules of Order, so something that you might want to consider for future readings. After a motion's been approved, allow the community to actually comment in that moment. I know that was just for introduction, but most other meetings I attend, that does happen, and it's helpful for people to be able to comment in that moment when that specific resolution or ordinance is up for discussion. As far as moratoriums, if this is the fourth, it really makes us look unorganized. I was a member of the Delaware County Study Committee. It was a privilege to serve on that. I volunteered over a year of my time with the 8 other members. We extensively looked at everything that is being talked about. We had companies present. We researched every county. We spent a lot of time and effort, and you even paid a consultant to compile all the minutes and recordings that were taken during those long meetings. If we're going to even consider another moratorium and talking about more amendments, I would encourage you to reconvene the official study committee because it was apolitical, unbiased, and professional. There were 3 opponents, 3 proponents, and 3 neutral people that debated numerous hours on this topic. Now, I do agree there is new information coming out every single day about all kinds of technology. I just think that when you put in another moratorium in with it being potentially the fourth, that you definitely are sending a message that Delaware County is not open for business. And I think that will hinder us in the future and affect our growth. And when I say growth, I don't necessarily mean population.
3 minutes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jason.
Thank you.
Jerry Kirtley, I believe. Sorry. We have another Chris Milbury. Chris Milbury. Okay. Angie from Wharton. Or Angie.
Oh my goodness. Breeze? Bragg, thank you. Thank you. Is Angie here? She passes.
Okay. Stephen Hines.
Thank you. Thank you. House bill that everybody was talking about. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
My name is Stephen Hines. I live at 2706 South Tacoma Avenue, Muncie, Indiana. I have 7 acres out at the proposed Ordinance project. What I just gave you is the digest for that House Bill 1628. I'm sure you guys have already seen it, but I just want to go to one thing. It's at the bottom, and I highlighted it for you guys. It reads, with certain exceptions, requires the ordinances, regulations, and statutes in effect at the time a permit is entered into to continue to apply unless the development is not completed within 10 years. So my understanding of that reads that whatever is on the ordinance, whenever a permit is submitted, that's the rules that the solar companies have to abide by. So I am here today to ask for you guys to pass a strong ordinance, like the one that the citizens group gave to you guys, and that's in regard to like the decommissioning part of that ordinance, because I think that that's an important thing for our county to protect itself. I think that the wordage on that is very good. The one thing that I heard a few people bring up was that this will bring new tax revenues to our county, and my understanding is that we're at our max levy, and so I don't think that it's going to bring any money into our county from a tax standpoint. The only thing it's going to benefit is the properties like mine. If my property value goes down, then I just won't have to pay much in property taxes. So I just wanted to bring that up. And I'm glad to hear you guys bring up the BESS systems, or the battery energy storage systems, as part of the ordinance. Yeah, just thank you guys.
Thank you. Thank you. Next is Harold King.
Thank you for the time. Harold King, 18300 North, 850 West, Gaston, Indiana. You know,
3-4 years ago, myself and most of the people in this room and in this county knew absolutely nothing about solar and industrial solar. Fortunately, in the last 3.5 years, we've continued to learn, to research, visit, and most of us know a whole lot more now. I just saw a brief come across in the last day or so in the Mojave Desert, big solar plant, industrial. After 9 years, it's going to be decommissioned because it's not competitive. I want to address the fact that in the industrial solar, a handful of people are financially rewarded quite handsomely. But I want to talk about the other 99% of us that are affected and have no financial dog in the hunt. Mary McClinton Clay has the defining issue of research and appraisal on the impact of industrial solar on neighboring houses and land. That has stood the test in a couple of court cases, and the impact is from, of course, as close as you are to it, it decreases in the amount that you're affected up to 3 miles. That's a lot. I really enjoyed the guy from Farm Bureau because he talked about how their solar company made accommodations for all those people that were going to be affected. Most of the companies I've heard have never done that. So I would love to see a couple things put into this ordinance to protect the rest of the people. One would be a good neighbor plan that does exactly what he was talking about. If you are next to that, you are compensated, and it has to be done legally with signed letters by the solar company. One other thing that's not talked about much is that, Gaston, Albany, Eaton, small communities, there needs to be at least a minimum of a 1 mile buffer around those city limits. If you need to expand, that's usually where it's going to happen. And if I want to have a couple of homes out there, I don't want to be right next to the solar. I appreciate all the research so many people are doing. And
3 minutes.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Okay, that's everybody that has signed up. We'll go on to commissioners' comments. Mr. Brand, you have a couple things you're working on?
Sure. So, a little bit of a follow-up to some of the comments that were being made. There are some Senate bills and House bills that we need to pay attention to. Number one, Senate Bill number 1 talks very specifically about property tax relief, and this is the governor's plan. And anybody that watched the elections last year, every single person running for state or governor talked about some sort of property tax relief. And it looks to me like somehow somebody's going to get their way there. And to make a decision for businesses, abatements, things like that based on property tax, I think we can all anticipate that, those property taxes aren't going to be in the future what they are today. So Senate Bill number 1, we need to pay attention to that. House Bill 1628 came up a couple times, so I want to comment on that. While it does look to infringe on the home rule powers of a county, it's very specifically about projects that are shared across county lines. So the reason the state's looking at this is because traditionally counties don't work and play well together. So they believe it's in our best interest for them to make these decisions at the state level, and I don't agree with that. So I would rather each county be able to make its own decisions. So 1628 is specifically about counties where projects that are going across state lines. The one that you need to pay attention to is Senate Bill 425. That one very specifically goes after the home rule powers in the construction of electric generation facilities. I still believe those decisions need to be made at the local level, and the home rule power of the county commissioners should not be challenged like that. So I've got two other things. They're actually on the agenda. One's the 32.5 hour work week. I brought this up, I believe, in the January 6th meeting. You know, everything I just said about property taxes, there's no doubt that our revenue coming into our county is going to be less in a couple years than what it is today. And we need to get ahead of that. I would rather not stick our heads in the sand and be proactive and try to come up with some common sense ways to approach that. I am not in favor of terminating any employees just because, you know, the 32.5 hour rule, but there are some strategies we can put in place to make that common sense and get ahead of it. So I'm proposing a committee, a little study committee or focus group, maybe is a better word, for the elected officials that have employees in their departments that have 32.5 hour work weeks, as well as department heads. And we'll get together and we'll put a plan in place with timing so we can get ahead of this. Because I can vision a future state where the county council, their job is to balance our budget. And they're going to look at revenue and expense. And if we don't have the revenue to cover expense, the county council could say, I'm making it up, you have to cut 50 heads. Now we're in reaction mode. We need to be proactive. We need to go after this. So I'm proposing a focus group there. And I will champion that, and I'll work with all the departments to do that. And the last thing is county take-home vehicles. I'd like to, I'm going to put together a proposal with some feedback that's been coming from some of the departments for the commissioners to consider on eligibility for take-home vehicles. There's currently not an eligibility criteria in our handbook, and I believe that there should be. You know, something to the effect that there's regular travel outside normal business hours. Obviously, the emergency responders, the Sheriff's Department, 911, EMS, EMA, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the other departments that may get called out once a month. In my opinion, that doesn't make you eligible for a take-home vehicle. So I'm going to put together a proposal for consideration by the commissioners. So thank you, President Henry, for allowing me the time to comment.
I'd like to comment, I'm not on the agenda here, excuse me, but you do bring up some good study focus groups. And I have been around here now, I hate to say it, but a few years. I've worked here 17 years, left, came back. So I'm starting my 13th year. And for about 12.5 years, I've been saying that we need to adjust our part-time people, because as more of us are aging, and we'd like to maybe have a little pocket money, and you cannot convince me that we could not find some part-time people to come in and do some of these jobs 3 days a week at maybe $18 an hour, let's just say. So put that on your focus group, because I think they don't need the benefits, and they know what they're doing, but they just need a little pocket money, and they would like to have a part-time job.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next commissioner meeting will be Tuesday, February 18th at 9 a.m. in this room. I will entertain a motion for recess.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion to recess and a second. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Reagan,
Yes.
Commissioner Brand,
Yes.
Commissioner Henry.
Yes,
Thank you, everyone.
we're in recess.
Thank you.